Hello, my aviation chums. Welcome to A Chopper is Born. Looks nice, doesn't it? Yes, I am building my own helicopter. And all the kit's over here. Oh, yes! I've got to put the tail boom on. You see? You tell me, does that look like a helicopter or what? Yes, I'm building my own two-seater kit helicopter. I'm here at Southern Helicopters, which is a professional workshop. They've lent me a little bit of space here so that I can build my own chopper. Now, since you were last here, the airframe, which I'd pre-assembled, has been stripped and powder-coated, and this gives it a finish which is much harder, much more resistant to chemical and other general abuse than a straight paint finish. It looks superb, but the whole thing's been put back together again, including the engine mount that's here. It's looking the business, but we leave this end now because this programme is all about the tail boom, which is down this end. The object of the exercise is to put on, at the end of the tail boom, the tail rotor, plus all the fins and bits and pieces that will stabilise this end of the helicopter when you're in flight. The reason you have a tail rotor is because when you've got a huge chopper blade going around to give you your lift and your movement backwards, forwards, sideways and whatever, there's a tendency for the body of the helicopter to spin in the opposite direction. But it's the tail rotor that actually creates some thrust to bring it all back in line. First job is some horizontal winglets.
The structure of the tail boom is to allow us a very strong member to attach the tail rotor and tail surfaces to. The tail boom is made up of a number of bulkheads, and we have stringers to set the spacing and give us our initial strength. The bulkheads are made very close to tolerance, and the main point for them is to hold the skin round. The stringer is actually made of thin aluminum. It's sheared to width and form. It's very, very flimsy, but we'll find that as we bring it over, it will be attached and riveted to the bulkheads, giving the tail boom a lot of strength. Now we're going to sheet it. And as you can see, the sheeting that we use is very thin, but rolled in the cone shape, it really gives us a lot of strength. The first thing he'll do is drill some holes through the aluminum sheet and the stringer. He'll then cleco it full length so he has one edge where it absolutely needs to be. What we do then is, as you can see, he's wrapping straps around the sheet, and he'll bring it up a little bit at a time, full length, and come back and repeat the process until he has the skin right up tight. The next step, once it's wrapped, is to set it in this frame, and we're going to make sure that everything is plumb all the way from the front to the very back of the tail boom. We'll drill through the aluminum sheet, the stringers, and even into the tail boom bulkheads, and attach it with clecos to make sure everything is right. And once we have it to that point, we'll start to do the riveting. And when it's finished, it's extremely strong and incredibly light.
This is a winglet. It's one of two, but it needs to be attached to a horizontal trim fin, which is this bit. And you can see I've already done quite a lot of the preparation work here, because this is all lined up. We've got the holes to be able to screw the two together, but the thing that's going to join the two together is actually a piece of wood. It starts off as a wooden block, like so. Now, to mark that up, to make it exactly the right shape of the end of this horizontal trim, we need to put in a little bit of tubing, which is exactly the same size as the spar that runs through the horizontal trim fin. Place it at the end, then clamp it with a clamp, and all that does is just squash down the aluminium so that it's exactly the same shape and profile all the way along the horizontal trim fin. So then it's a simple matter of place the upturned trim fin on the block of wood, like so, and then draw around it. So, got that, now here. This is a bandsaw, a bit of kit that I'm not that experienced with, so this should be very entertaining. Fortunately, I've got lots of bits of wood and a reasonable amount of time. So, where's it switch on? Down here. Wish me luck. Not a bad shape, at least it looks like a cross-section of a wing, but does it fit the end of the trim fin? The answer is no, it doesn't. It's oversized, which is a good thing, because now I've got to shape it to fit in that hole. So a bit of sanding required. I tell you what, these power sanders aren't all they're cracked up to be, are they? The disc sander here takes it off quite coarsely, so I'm just getting the rough shape with that, and then when I'm somewhere near, then I can start working on the belt. Whoa! That will slot in there, and we'll just screw it all together. Excellent. Okay, now, with that all screwed up, that side as well, got to put 2 more screws in there, but once that's completely finished, what I'll then do is lay over 2 pieces of fiberglass tape like that over the screws. Then it's a matter of attaching them to the tail boom. The trim fin bolts into the aluminium of the tail boom with just 2 bolts. Now this is not very thick aluminium, so what I've got to put in is a doubler. The doubler will actually fit up in here on the inside of that hole, and we'll then have some nut plates on it for the bolts to go through here to attach the trim fin. So because it's difficult to work on the inside, to fit it and drill the holes, we put in a piece of tube the same size as the spar. This will sit over the top of it, like so. Once you've drilled one hole, then you put in the cleco, which is this little device, which basically has a plunger on it. So when you squeeze it together, you can see this becomes narrow enough to fit through the hole. But when you then let it off, it's like an arrowhead. It comes back and holds it in place. So that goes in like that. You let go. You've now got that nice and fixed. That's pretty solid, which means you can then work your way around and do the others. We'll do the bottom one, then the sides, until we've got the template all drilled out. Now that the 2 spars are bolted together in the centre of the tail boom, I need to set the pitch angle of these little wings. And to do that, I've got this special little cutout that has a mark on it here, which is the line, the chord line, which goes straight through the centre of the aerofoil and then comes out at the trailing edge of the wing. That slots on there like that. Make sure it doesn't sit on a rivet at the trailing edge. We can check the angle on here, 8 degrees. 8.1 degrees there. Needs to be exactly the same as the angle of the top of the boom. So just pop that on there, and if I'm very lucky, and I am, that's exactly the same, 8 to 8.1 degrees, so that's perfect. So in that position, without moving it, I can mark the holes in this attachment plate here at the end of the fin, top and bottom, drill that out, and then pop rivet on the nut plates